being vulnerable in this world is the key. You know, I've shown people the cars, I've shown people the money, I've traveled the world, and like that stuff's cool. But at the end of the day, how are you connecting with people on a human level?
Who I am today is the highest valued version of me in my life because I prioritize this stuff so much, the books, the knowledge, the podcasts, all that stuff. So
we all have to sacrifice. There's a price to pay for success, and a lot of people aren't willing to pay it. And that's why a lot of people aren't successful.
My gift and a curse is I see things and I search for the problems and how to solve the problems. But then when you're always looking for the problems,
that's all you find.
Exactly. It's what can I complain about that I'm not doing right now?
Yeah. Your voice empowers people. You have a gift to be able to impact people using your words. I've learned now there's more value in my voice than there is in a business. Some of the top motivational speakers in the world charging $250,000 for 1 hour speech. And the gift is inside. And a lot of people will live their entire lives with that gift buried and never actually dig it out.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of the Free Game with Crack podcast. Today I have Jacob Akley. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm splendid.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be here, dude. This is a long time coming.
I know we have a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, dude. We've literally, like, schedule-wise, trying to been having this happen for a long time. So I'm excited about it.
Let's tease people real quick. What are some, be humble, but right now don't be humble. What are some career accomplishments that things that stand out to you that are like, yeah, I did this.
I have a world record. I've run every country of the United Kingdom in under 24 hours.
I have a lot of questions about that. Keep going.
Published author, motivational speaker, business owner, entrepreneur, man. Out here getting it.
Highs. What about some low moments that stand out?
A lot of lows in life. And in fact, the lows are what have created the highs. My mom died in front of me when I was 8 years old. Didn't know my dad. Never met him. Adopted. And just had to fight all of my life. So, like, most of my life has been low, but because it was low, has created these highs. So, yeah.
Damn. And then as of today, like, if we're in an Uber right now and the Uber driver's like, hey, young man, what do you do for a living? Like, what do you do? What do you do?
So it used to be entrepreneur. Now it's just motivational speaker. I had multiple businesses. I sold all of them so that I could intentionally try to impact people, which is through speaking. And I also do professional development for schools and corporations. So now that's solely what I do. Beforehand, I did a lot of things, a lot. I mean, I owned 5 businesses at one point, pulling me in every direction. And it just got to a point where it was overwhelming. And it was taking more of my energy and time than I was able to reproduce. So, yeah.
Let's tell the audience how we met. Do you remember, like, what year it was or how many years ago it was?
So it was definitely around 2007, 2008, might even be before then. I remember, again, you were in the music scene. I was in the music scene. At the time, I was a rapper.
Same.
Much like yourself.
Yeah.
You had dropped a lot more mixtapes than I had. But I was traveling around the state with, ironically, Be Unique, and Perm when he was still alive, who obviously since passed away. But I was doing shows at the Rocket with them when they were doing Hood Illustrated.
Yeah.
And that's eventually, like, I caught wind of your name and then picked you up and saw you were doing all this stuff. And I was like, well, I'm rapping, you're rapping. You want to do a song? Mm-hmm. And then I sent you 16 bars and you got on it. And I mean, that's honestly how we connected. And again, you're talking a decade ago, 2007, 2006.
That's almost 2 decades ago.
I can't do math.
Yeah. Okay. And then how much longer? So for me, I had to have been maybe like 20 or so. And I officially retired from making music when I was 24.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, like, I was going really hard on it from 2007 until like 2009, all over the state, touring, doing shows with people, super cool. And then got married at the time, and it wasn't a longer practical situation for me to pursue in her eyes. And so I transitioned from music to starting other businesses. So. Could I have pursued it? Sure. But at the end of the day, your environment is everything. And so I was surrounded by people who were doing that. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. But genuinely, it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I might have been good at it, but doesn't mean that it's what I wanted. So,
what would you say are things that you may have carried from being a rapper to being a motivational speaker today?
Being comfortable in front of people. That's a very big thing. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's considered, I don't want to say one of the most dangerous jobs, but one of the jobs that is less pursued because of the fear of public opinion. And so most people are scared more of death than they are public speaking.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, rewind that. They're scared more of public speaking than they are of death. And so for me, being in front of people, as long as I have, much like yourself, it's very easy to transition because I'm comfortable in front of people. Like, that's something that a lot of people aren't. And so they, again, put masks or shell up, or, they're not their authentic selves. And music was a way for me to be my authentic self. And then I transitioned into a different plane, but still being very comfortable in front of people. So that's one thing I would say for sure transitioned from music to where I'm at now, is just being able to be on stages, made me comfortable.
What's crazy is when I was a rapper, I'd have to get almost blackout drunk to be able to get on stage. Crazy, right? And so when I did the math on that, I'm like, wait. So if this rap thing goes well, this means I'm going to be on tour doing shows every single day. So it's one thing to perform 2 or 3 weekends a month and get drunk, on the weekend. But like, wait, if I'm on tour, I'm going to perform every day. That means I'm going to have to get blackout drunk every single day. That's how my brain worked. I'm like, wait, this ain't adding up. And what's crazy is even now, I still am not very comfortable talking. And I guess it's still a work in progress.
So what's the thing for you that still makes it uncomfortable to talk in front of people? Is it fear of objection? Is it fear of what they're going to think of me? Like, what makes it hard for you to actually sit down and do that?
That's a good question. I think that I honestly don't know. I know that I'm comfortable if it's certain topics. So far, fortunately, it was specifically like music industry events and I've only spoke at 3 in my entire life. So like 3 speaking type of arrangements in the last 2 years. It's basically like my first one was 2 years ago, and then I did 2 this year so far. And just like with being on camera and like making content, I'm still naturally fighting to do it for whatever the reason is. And I've always just done it because I know that it's required, but it doesn't come natural. I think the podcast style like this is more natural because I'm just having a conversation with you. There's no like presentation or energy I have to bring, or I mean a little bit. Yeah, I can't just be too boring. But then where was I going to go with that? I don't know. I guess the speaking, getting blackout drunk. Did you ever? Are you introverted or extroverted?
So like, I'm totally introverted. I do not like associating. However, ironically, I choose a career that is the exact opposite. When I'm in my private life, now again, like social media, I post a lot, but I do it because number one, and this being an influencer, I get paid to post. So the more I post content, obviously, and the more people are engaging, the more money I get back. So I post a lot. Sometimes people don't like some of the content I post, and sometimes they do, and that's fine. I'm not worried about that. But for me, yes, there have been times where I used to have to drink as well to feel comfortable in certain environments. But then I got comfortable with myself and realized that if I would just be authentically me, the people that I actually want to gravitate towards would gravitate towards me. And so a lot of times I would, again, mask myself in alcohol before I go do something, or, just try to fit in with the crowd. But truth be told, you can never stand out if you always try to fit in. And most people always fit in with the crowds. I've heard it said many times, you've read a lot of the same books that I have, a lot of the same mentors. But the bottom is overcrowded. It's the top that we want to get to, and I want to bring other people there. But to get back to your question there, yes, I've had times where I needed to do those things to feel comfortable in that environment, which meant that I wasn't really comfortable in my own skin. It wasn't the environment. It was the fact that I wasn't comfortable with myself. And so I was using a substance or something like that to make me comfortable.
I think with making content, because when I tell people that I'm like super introverted, and they're thinking like, how are you introverted? I watched hundreds of your videos online. What they don't realize is when I'm filming these videos, I'm fucking by myself.
Yes.
So like,
yes, dude.
very private. It's different. It's not like I'm filming these videos. If a video has 1,000 views, I didn't film it in front of 1,000 people. I filmed it alone by myself.
Yeah. And that's a real thing that a lot of people don't get and understand. And like, I got a buddy who's trying to start a business right now, and he's trying to get on social media, and he's super uncomfortable. And I'm like, dude, just go live. Do it every day, because there's three things that are going to happen. Number one, you're going to get used to being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Number two, your communication skills are going to build. And then number three, you're going to build a network with people who you would not have connected with should you not be doing that thing in the first place. So again, hard thing for a lot of people to do. Most people super uncomfortable to get on a camera and tell their own truth. But should they tell their own truth, they would connect with people at a deeper level. Being vulnerable in this world is the key. You know, I've shown people the cars, I've shown people the money, I've traveled the world, and like that stuff's cool. But at the end of the day, how are you connecting with people on a human level? And that's why I got away from all of the businesses. It wasn't about money anymore. For a long time in my life, I was chasing dollars. And I hit every benchmark. Oh, I want to make 6 figures. Cool. I made 6 figures. But I wasn't happier because I made it. Sure, I could go do more things, but am I impacting more people? And I wasn't. I was making t-shirts. I wasn't doing anything. The moment that I started to talk to people and impact them, I had a kid come up to me during one of my speeches, actually after the speech, and he was just like, you know, you changed my life. You changed the way I think, and I'll never forget you. And from that day forward, like, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not cars, clothes, homes, and anything like that. It's impact. And so that's my chase now, is the number one chase. And anything else is a distraction.
What free game would you give to somebody that struggles with like communication? To like, what are some practical things that somebody could do to get better at communication?
So I could give a few on that. I think a big one for me is just getting comfortable talking in front of people. So my buddy, who is co-owner of my consulting firm with me, not comfortable speaking. And so I was like, hey, man, I got a really big speaking engagement coming up. It's like 370 people, you know, in packed house. It's not an auditorium that fits 1,000 people. I would love for you to open up. And he was terrified about doing it, man. And I was like, I'll tell you what, why don't we go to Starbucks? We'll have coffee and we'll sit out on the patio and we'll practice out on the patio. And so I had him run through that speech every day for 30 days out at Starbucks in front of people and got him comfortable with speaking in front of people.
So this is like strangers are kind of walking by in the background 100%, and stuff.
Dude,
and you're
they're
just
sitting out on the patio. And ironically, like when he's done, I'm going through mine and I'm looking and there's like 15 people out there. This is like 2 days before the speech. And I let them all know. I was like, hey, I'm about to go on a tangent for the next 40 minutes. I'm not trying to interrupt you guys. And they all sat there and listened. And then at the end of that, I had like 3 or 4 of them come up to me like, oh my God, that was amazing. And to me, I'm like, who the hell am I? You know, like I'm just a regular guy. But to these people, they're hearing things that they don't normally hear. And to get back to your thing there, to get him more comfortable and myself more comfortable, it's literally just deploying it into the marketplace. If you're uncomfortable speaking in front of people, then go start speaking in front of people. Mm-hmm. I know it's difficult, but that's the thing that will make you more comfortable. Okay. And in any facet of business, of life, if it's something that scares you and something that you don't want to do, but you want to get better at, the only way to get better at it is to do it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the next. I seen somewhere it was. Do you know who Myron Golden is?
Yes. Yeah. I love him, dude. I love him.
I do too.
Yes.
He was saying something about there's levels of, I forget the specific topic he was talking about, but he was saying this level is this, but one of the top levels was all communication. So he was like, now your influence, maybe it was the levels of influence or something like that. And it was like, this is when you do things. It's basically like you do this, like your time, you're doing things. But then the next thing up was now you're leading other people to get them to do things as well. Then you move up to this level, and now your key focus is communicating to other people to influence and shit. And I'm like, okay, I have to get better at communicating and leading.
And that's a big one as far as leadership is concerned. I don't mean to interrupt you. 100%, like communication is like a number one key in leadership. If you can't communicate with your team, your employees, whoever it may be, I mean, it's doomed from the start. Mm-hmm. Do you read or listen to John Maxwell at all?
I've seen like clips on social media, but I haven't read one of his books. I should have brought you
some of his books. I got every one of them. All right, I'll bring you some. John is great as far as that's concerned, especially as you're transitioning from where you were specifically doing music industry to being more of a creative space, which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Dude, his books, I'm going to send you a couple. Good. And it will definitely 10x everything that you're doing, 100%. You know, wisdom is the riches of the world. We all think it's money, and it's not. It's how much you know, how many experiences that you've had, and how do you deploy those to help other people. You know, the Bible, I'm not trying to tell people to be religious, by the way, but the Bible says to have dominion. And then once you have dominion, to multiply. And so the whole point in all of this, or at least from my perspective, is for you to lead from a place, and then your leadership causes other people to lead. And so now you've multiplied.
Yeah.
And now you're creating other leaders who are creating other leaders. And because you made that decision, you're changing the world. And for me, that's such a significant thing. And I was willing to give up everything else for that one thing.
What made you like start reading books or getting into reading? I've only been reading, to be honest, for like 4 years.
So I was not a reader. It was 2017, and I can't tell you specifically what was the thing that triggered it. I just know that was the time frame because I documented it, just like you document everything. And in 2017, at the time, I was 250 pounds overweight, alcoholic.
Should have said that on the intro.
Bro, I was big. big.
In this clip, I got to get a picture of you.
I got him. Yeah.
You're
and
in
that's
great
one
shape
thing
too,
that I
by the
really
way.
do love. I appreciate that. You are too. I see you out there getting it.
I'm trying.
That's one thing I appreciate is because a lot of people don't realize the sacrifice that I've had. We all have to sacrifice. There's a price to pay for success. And a lot of people aren't willing to pay it. And that's why a lot of people aren't successful. That's why 1% of the world has the world's money. That's why you see just a few people out here on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you know, driving the Lambos, this, that, and others, because they executed on their dreams and goals. And most people aren't willing to do the work to get to the goal. They like the idea of the goal, but they don't like the work required to do it. And I've always been one of those people. Since a kid, dude, I was out picking people's flowers from their gardens. And then I'd go resell them to people.
Yeah.
$2, $3, $4, whatever it was. I was selling magic tricks. I remember Scholastic Book Fair. You remember that when we were kids, dude? Yeah. And they would have this magic kit that you could buy. And so I bought it, and I would literally sit outside of my grandmother's house, and I would do magic tricks, and I would sell them to people. $2 and I'll do a magic trick for you. And so like I learned entrepreneurship at a very young age, but I never really understood it until like a year ago, like really how to execute on it. You know, having the game plan, and blueprints are everything. You know, we can all have visions for our future, but unless you actually execute and put massive action on those, they just stay dreams. But I've always been one of those people that just chased and chased and chased. And because of that, I've done some amazing things that a lot of people won't ever do in their lives, but I would love for them to. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, hey, if I can come from being a homeless high school dropout, you know, and having a newborn baby and staying on friends' couches to traveling the world, writing books and speaking to people, so can anybody else in my environment. And so, again, I don't really know what the transition was last year, but it was a significant one where I just realized like it wasn't about business anymore for me. I've done it. You know, I didn't need to prove anything to anybody anymore. I've already made the money. I've already gone to all these places, Malibu, London, Scotland, all of it. But none of that was really the driving force behind what I was trying to do in my life.
Yo, I want to go back to the 250 pounds.
Yeah, dude.
250?
Yeah, dude. I got pictures of it. I was a big dude. Yep.
So, like, where were you at in life at 250? Like, what were you doing for a living? Kind of what was like the typical week in your life when you look back on it now, like the mistakes or lifestyle shit?
Dude, I settled, number one.
Okay.
I settled. And a lot of people settle. But because I settled, I got comfortable in the life that I had. I was married, 3 kids, still have. Divorced now, but at that time frame, I didn't need to push myself. And I think that's a big proponent in a lot of people's lives is comfort breeds conformity. And so if you're comfortable, yeah, then I'm going to conform to the norms. It's I wake up at 9 and I go to work and come home, pay the bills and this, that, and another.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So you said you are divorced now?
Yes.
I know you can't go back in time, but like, what would you have? Because maybe somebody's watching this and maybe right now they're that 250 version of you. What would you have wanted your spouse at that time to do when you were living like that?
Good question. That's a good question. And honestly, one that I would think deeply on. So it's going to be a complex answer to that. You know, I was doing a lot of things in my life at that time, obviously, that weren't congruent with the blueprint that I wanted. And so Tony Robbins taught me this. When your blueprints aren't matching your outcomes, that's when you have discomfort. You know, we all have these goals and dreams. And if we're not taking action on those goals and dreams and we're not achieving those, well, now we feel like we can't achieve those or we're not deserving of achieving those. And for me, to be honest, I got comfortable. That's really the best answer I can give there. It wasn't that I had some trauma that was going on that caused me to act the way I acted. Yeah. I got comfortable with the lifestyle that I was living. Bills are paid. I didn't need to do anything extra. So I'm having my drinks, I'm eating my food. And, you know, I wasn't living a life that was, again, congruent at my time with the blueprint that I wanted. Dude, I didn't run. I didn't eat healthy. I drank every day. Just wasn't a good lifestyle. But I couldn't say that it was because of anything that was ridiculous. It was just I was living comfortable. It's one of those people that come home after work, crack a beer, watch the game. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I ended up selling my TV in 2017. I don't own a TV. I own a library. Yeah. That's it. I don't own a TV. I won't allow myself to distract myself with that. I would much rather pick up a book, read, learn, and then move forward with what I'm trying to do in my life. And that's been a really big, significant shift for me, is not having the distraction of a television.
How did the timeline line up from you guys divorcing and your weight loss and like being more on the positive side, or like did you start that journey while you guys were still married, or did it happen after? So
I started it right before, and I think that might have been one of the reasons, because I started moving in a different direction than she was.
Yeah.
So
like my vision,
yes. Well, and the thing is, so let me backtrack it too and tell this story a little bit more in depth. So her and I met each other in high school, Sexton. This was in 2000, Sexton High School.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. 2006, we were doing a musical in the theater department. It was Grease. And so I was playing one of the characters. She was playing one of the characters. That's how we met.
Okay.
And at that time is when I started getting involved with people that I really shouldn't have been. You know, my first 2 years in high school, I was on honor roll, good grades, this, that, and another. And then my junior year, I started hanging out with a lot of people that you were connected with as well, who do a lot of things. And I'm not going to say names or anything like that because it's not my place.
Yeah, we from the streets.
Ironically, you know, you look at me today and you wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think it. But I really did come from that place. You know, like I remember, again, a lot of people that you know, that I know, were at this party at my house. And this was in 2006. I got the police report too to verify. At my house, and we were having a house party. It's like 60, 70 people in there, packed. And I remember there were a couple of people that nobody knew from Detroit. And so like there's this, I don't know, vibe in the air, call it what you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time, for people who don't know, I was selling drugs. We were living in a trap house. That's what we were doing. I dropped out of high school. And so we had this party and these guys are there. And I can just remember one of the guys talking about, oh, you know, gonna get into this fight. And I'm like, we're teenagers, bro. I'm like, no, you know, and if you guys are gonna fight, take it outside. Ended up going outside, and I remember it just getting so rowdy. Like I go to the front door to try to stop it, and that's when the first shots rang off. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like this is the first time I've ever seen something like this.
At your house too, I'd be
at my house
scared.
And I took off. I went upstairs. At the time, weed wasn't legal in Michigan. We were growing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had weed plants in the house. We had paraphernalia. We had monetary things in there. And this happens. And so like I'm in a panic. And the first thing I think is like, I got to go. So I just took off and I ran. My grandmother lived like 2.5 miles away. So I ran to her house and sat there for like an hour or two and then decided I was going to go back. And when we get back, you know, it's just CSI, every police agency, like around the mid-Michigan area. You
Somebody get shot?
Yeah, someone got shot. I remember, like, before I ran away, when the shots stopped, it was just silent for a minute, eerie silent. And I could see what I thought at the time were bodies in the front yard. It wasn't bodies. It was just coats. It was the wintertime.
Oh, thank
People
God.
are running for cover, bro.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. I mean, like diving on cement cover. And but I remember, like, after the shot stopped, quiet for a moment, and then I got two people rushing towards me, one of them holding his arm, bleeding everywhere. And so I'm like, oh, shit, okay, he got shot. Once I realized that, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to be implicated in this in any way, form, or fashion. And so I ran. And I wasn't implicated. However, my brother was, again, in the police report, but it was just
You have
because...
an older brother or younger brother?
Older brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
I'm
other
the
sibling?
youngest.
Okay.
Yep. I have two brothers, both of them older than me. One of them is a half brother. So I don't see him or talk to him quite as much.
Yeah.
But, no, it was just a crazy scenario in my life, man, where I was just going the wrong direction and decided to make some different choices. And thank God that I did, because I would have ended up in the same path that everybody else was.
Yeah. But you were saying towards the end, that's where you were like, okay, I'm getting my shit together. Do you remember, like, what was did you have a breaking point, like in the movie where you see them?
Dude, when he got
crash
shot.
out?
Yeah, when he got shot, I was like, this isn't for me. It was a surreal experience. And don't get me wrong, I've heard gunshots. We live in Lansing, like it happens. But like when you see it firsthand and you see someone that you know get shot, like I was like, I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of it. And 3 weeks later, we moved out of the house. When we moved out of the house, it ended up getting raided, but nobody was there. And then from there, I never looked back. I made the change that night. I just wasn't going to live that lifestyle anymore. And then from there, it's taken a lot of time and growth. But I would say the real significant changes were in 2017. I started listening to motivational tapes. Might have been Zig Ziglar or Les
You remember where
Brown.
it came from, though? Like,
Dude.
Where did it start
Intuition? I don't
Really?
know. Yeah, like I couldn't tell you. I just know I knew I needed to make some different decisions in my life. And I don't know if I got on YouTube to like search for a motivational video or something, but something triggered it. And I just got obsessed with it. I heard one tape from one person and then I just went down this rabbit hole, down it. And I was like, I can change. And then I started doing the things and my life changed. And I was like, wow, this is actually real. Like, you know, I know you've probably heard of the law of attraction and manifestation and all of these things. And, you know, they sound esoteric, but at the end of the day, when a human being decides, and that's the big thing, is a decision. When you decide that you're going to do something and you cut off any other possibility, regardless of what comes against you, you push through it. And because of that, I've been able to achieve a lot. And because of that, you've been able to achieve a lot, because there's a lot of adversity. When you're trying to build something like this, I guarantee you, how many mishaps, setbacks, or problems have you had building this studio?
Man, brother, just last week we questioned, is it worth it? literally like, I see what is required for it to take. And I don't know if I want to because how you said, to get anything, you have to give something. So there's always sacrifice. And I'm thinking like, am I really going to sacrifice like 5 to 8 of my next years into this? And would it pay off like that? And then would I be happy? Or do I want to go? So it was rethinking the stuff. But then every time I do this, I always come back to here. And then the people that are around me, they'll ask you, what do you want? What do you want to do? And it's just like, I want to build the fucking studio. Like, that's it. That's all I want to do. So it's like, well, then you have to do it. And so, yeah, I think it's just hitting your head on the wall. And there's been a pattern of whenever there's a breakdown, there's a breakthrough.
Facts.
Yeah.
I heard someone say that your highest achievement is your lowest point. And what I mean by that is every time that you achieve something, well, now that you've hit that plateau, you can't shrink back down.
No, yeah.
So like, yeah, you achieved that thing, but now that's your new low. You made it here. What's next?
Yeah.
And I think as entrepreneurs, that's something that we thrive off of. We love the thought of achievement and building these brands and impacting people and just, I don't know, getting everything that we can out of life. And sometimes at the cost of our own energy. And that's a big one for me as I've gotten older, is learning emotional intelligence. This is something that most adults will go through their entire life never really understanding. Seriously. And I find that out when I'm doing professional development now, as I've switched from the clothing company, which, by the way, again, very lucrative. Not saying that it wasn't, just not passionate about. I am passionate about helping impact people. And because of that, like, I wasn't thinking dollar signs, I was thinking value. And I remember pitching for the first time to a school that I was wanting to do professional development in a public speaking engagement. And I was like, it's $5,000 for 1 hour. And a lot of people are scared to shoot that shot. Sounds like a lot of money. And I was much the same, but I don't know. You know who Eric Thomas is? I would assume. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So I've been mentored by him. It was always this vision of my life. I remember at that time when I made that transition in 2017, I was listening to all these tapes. He was one of those people.
Sweet.
And, I heard him. And after listening to all of these, like, he got me to think a little bit differently. And when he did, I was like, man, if I could just go hear him speak. And then I was like, let me think a little bit deeper. Instead of hearing him speak, how cool would it be to have him mentor me? And so then I saw that he was going to be in town. I was like, all right, I'm going to go do the thing. So I went and saw him, and then I went and saw him again, and went and saw him. I mean, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then he started to coach and mentor me. And because of that, it literally shifted from where I was with having like 6 companies and this, that, and another to monomaniacally focused on one thing, which is speaking. Because much like you do, and I don't know if you know it, but I'm going to tell you, your voice empowers people. You have a gift to be able to impact people using your words. And it's such a powerful thing. And with that, I've learned now there's more value in my voice than there is in a business, anywhere, period. This is something that at the end of the day, some of the top motivational speakers in the world charging $250,000 for 1 hour speech. And it's not because they've got all these things. It's because they have the thing, and the gift is inside. And a lot of people will live their entire lives with that gift buried and never actually dig it out and use it. But you were born to use that gift.
Man, give me some game. Give me some advice right now, because the problem that I'm having is because of having the studio and building it out, like, my overhead is pretty high at the moment. So, like I was saying to my wife, all I want to do is help people. All I want to do is, like, I want to create content so that way it can reach people from all over the world. Like, that's what I want to do. I still have bills to pay though. So it's like when people come here, I've currently been struggling on getting people to value this, and not like, when I mean this, it's like doing something for them. It's like, yo, they value, pick up your camera, shoot the video for me, or like provide a service for me. And I would always tell them, I can help you so much more outside of this. Like, this is making the product. Like, you need all of this, the knowledge and the wisdom. But it seems, and maybe it's some of the wrong people that I've bumped into, but it just seems like they don't value that. But I know that you know it. I know it for sure. Like, who I am today is the highest valued version of me in my life because I prioritize this stuff so much, the books, the knowledge, the podcasts, all that stuff. So, yeah, what, besides speaking, were you thinking about, well, maybe I could do courses or I could do YouTube stuff or like, how did you land on that?
Well, now that I've landed on that one thing specifically and going in on that 100%, it's going to be all of that. And I've actually developed and deployed. And now we are just going to go hardcore over the next 12 months. Something that I carry with me all the time. This is a goal card. I learned this from Bob Proctor. Okay.
Oh, you're about to kill it. Drop that.
I promise you, it's a gem. Most of us as adults get distracted by everyday life. We have these goals and dreams. And then life happens, bills, the house, the food, this, that, another. And before you know it, the goals and dreams that you had have been buried. And Bob Proctor taught me this, and it's to hold a goal card. I've done it since 2017. And because of that, I've accomplished more in my life than I had the previous 20 years. And it's really simple, man. You take, and you don't have to have it in a case like this. This is beat up. It's old.
Yeah.
I've used the hell out of it. But the point here is to write down your major goals for the next 12 months and don't make it like 10, 15, one or two. Be specific, because when you have 15, now you're spreading out very thin.
I'll do it right now. Let's do this live.
And so I started doing it. And, I have so many of them in my car from all of the ones that I've accomplished. And now the goal is again, we've hit 6 figures over the next 12 months. I want to do 250. And then in 24 months, on paper, from what we are doing mathematically, we should hit 1 million. But again, that sounds amazing, but it's not without action and execution. Those are the 2 key requirements for those things to happen. But yeah, I encourage everybody, if you've got a goal or a dream, to write it down. And the reason that you do this is because we pick up our phones 5, 15, 20, 30, 50, 75 times a day. Okay. Yeah. So if you've got a goal card in your pocket and every time that you touch that goal card, whatever is on it, you're going to think of. And so now what you're doing is you're placing these goals into your subconscious mind. And a lot of people don't understand that. The conscious mind is not what controls your life. It's the subconscious mind. And when you can, again, if you dream of something for so long and you believe it and you feel it and you take action towards it, eventually you achieve it.
Yeah.
And that's any achiever, any person that's successful on this planet will tell you the same thing. What you think about on a daily basis is what you become. And so a goal card doesn't allow you to distract yourself with all of these other things, because every time I touch it, boom, it's back in my brain. Oh, I got to hit that target. I got to hit that goal. What am I going to do to achieve that? And because of that, it's allowed me to think differently and operate differently than most individuals do. So, yeah, Bob Proctor.
So do you write it in present tense? So like, let's say my goal is I want to build a multi-million-dollar studio. Do I write I want to, or do I write like I built or I own a I own.
You want to do it in the present tense. So like, yes, have the goal, but envision yourself as already achieving it and feeling the feeling of already achieving it. And then when you do those 2 things, there's scientific data that backs this up. There's this brain and heart cohesion that when you think something and you feel it and you take action on it, I know this sounds esoteric, but the universe works to find ways for you to achieve those things. I can't explain it, but it's real, because I have time and time again in my life written down a goal that I wanted fervorously. And because I wanted it, I didn't allow anything outside to distract me, focused on that thing, and I got it. Now, if it was something that I really didn't want, then I would allow outside distractions to keep me from getting that goal. If you don't believe that you deserve these things, you'll do things to keep you from getting them.
Mm-hmm.
So a big one for me is number one, belief, but number two, having this and reminding myself every day what I'm trying to achieve. Because in this day and age, distraction is everywhere.
Do you read it out loud or like?
Yes, I read it out loud. I'll read it quietly. I read it to myself, 15, 20 times a day. Now, I will say, in my opinion, silent words, while yes, they still work, saying things out loud manifest a lot better than saying them in your head. 100%.
The recent lesson that me and my wife have been doing in our life is inner dialogue, being a lot nicer.
Yeah,
because I have past tense, an asshole to myself.
Yeah, self-sabotage, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. My current book that I'm writing right now, and I have a manuscript. It doesn't have all the chapters, but I want to give that to you before I leave. But it is called I'm the Problem, the Science Behind Why We Self-Sabotage. And
side note, that's it's brilliant title.
Deep. It's deep. And that was exactly what I was trying to do there. I'm thinking, all right, Napoleon Hill, he did his title Think and Grow Rich. And, he says in the book, it's laid out in every page, and however you read it, it might pop out here and there. And so, but what I realized is the title was everything for that book. If you could understand the title, you didn't need to read the book. Mm-hmm. And so with the title for mine, that was what I was trying to do too, is get you to understand that, like, we all want to say it's someone else's fault that we aren't achieving things. We all want that. But the truth is if we hold the mirror to ourselves, we realize that it's really our own self-deprecation that's keeping us from achieving the things that we want. And hard thing for me to do. As I'm writing this book, I have to hold myself accountable. So now I'm looking in the mirror like, you're a piece of shit. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, Yeah. But in doing that, now that I've held myself accountable, because I'm saying, hey, I'm doing these things wrong, now I can make a decision to change them. But until you hold yourself accountable and say that I'm doing these things wrong, you can't do anything to change it because you're giving the power away to whoever else is out there.
Yeah.
And so accountability, number one, but self-sabotage, big thing. And I do it a lot.
Yeah. I think for me too, because my gift and a curse is I see things and I search for the problems and how to solve the problems, so being a problem solver. But then when you're always looking for the problems, then it's like
that's all you find.
Exactly. It's what can I complain about that I'm not doing right now?
Yeah.
It's like other people will compliment how much content I make, and I'm like, content? What? I'm at like 5 to 10%. I have hard drives full of stuff. Like I'm not putting any. And I say all this negative stuff where they'd be like, yo, take it easy on yourself, man. You're doing a good job, bro. And I'm like, well, shit, these are my standards. Dude, these podcasts, I'd love to be doing 3 of these a week.
Yeah, I get it. And that's it. That's your standard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have very low standards. And that's one thing that I talk about when I go speak to people. Set the standard. We are all grown people, but have a standard. And most people don't, And so anything will do. If you don't have a target to aim at, you just throw a fucking dart. And that dart hits, you're like, well, that's what I was aiming at, Mm-hmm. And most people don't aim for anything big. They shrink themselves to the opinions of other people. I did it for a long time in my life, wondering what someone else was going to think of me. And because of that, I shrunk my own gifts. And had I just actually deployed these gifts, I would have been blessed far younger than I am right now. However, I will say and acknowledge there, and with you as well, being as young as we are, there's a lot of people, and I know this to be true because when I go do professional development, I'm talking to 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, CEOs. And what I realize is these people are, number one, human beings, but number two, they don't have the information. And it's crazy to me now that we live in a day and age of information, and you've got CEOs and leaders that don't have the information. And so I just find it so imperative for me to go do that shit. And now, like, AI amplifies it at a level that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine. Like I have this leadership course that I created, and I deployed it into ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, I want you to act like you're the world's most renowned professional development and leadership coach, and I want you to go through and analyze my program and let me know if there's any leaks in the system here. And again, just deploys back to me anything. This is what anybody who has high intellect needs as a coach. And sometimes we can't find that coach when we need it. But now artificial intelligence is giving you that coach right in front of you.
Yeah.
At any point in time. I got a question. There's something out there that can solve it if I can't find the person. Yeah. And so I think for most people, because they settle and a lot of people are not understanding artificial intelligence at all, and they're not using it. And because of that, the people who are using it right now are going to be the people who lead the world in the next 5 or 10 years.
My favorite way to use it right now is as more of like a personal assistant. Because how we're talking about before we started filming, like the ADHD, lots of ideas and stuff. And I'm like, all right, here, I'm going to go for a walk. That's one positive thing. And I'm going to just brain dump to ChatGPT. And I'm like, all right, so today is Monday. I'm going to be here for 6 hours. Because what I've learned with ADHD is you don't really know what the priority is. It just, everything seems like a priority. Like, I got to film this podcast. I got to edit this podcast. I got to do this. Like, they're all top priority. So I just share everything because I think you can hit the microphone and talk for like up to 10 minutes and then it'll save. And then I'll hit talk again for another. Sometimes I send an hour and a half.
I was going to say, dude, I did a prompt the other day that was like, I don't know, 25 minutes on the mic. But not with the like talk to text, the actual audio version. Yeah, dude, like 29-minute prompt. But because it was so detailed, I get information back that I wouldn't have anywhere else. Like I can sit with the most intellectual minds in the world and still have really good dialogue, but nowhere near the conversations that I have with the AI. And it sounds weird to say that, but it's true.
It's like all these stupid humans. Where's my AI?
Yeah, it's literally like there's not a day where I'm not using AI. There's not.
I was giving my wife a hard time one time because she was just going to town with sharing situations, things, thoughts, and then having AI like tell her, be honest with me. Am I wrong about this or that? Or like, break this down for me. And it was almost like I was interrupting her conversation with AI. And I'm like, bro, I'm a human. You got to come back to reality sometimes.
Yeah. It's very easy for us now, and especially as more people are integrating into it, to lose ourselves in it. And I think that's why Gary Vee says this, and I agree with him on this 100%. In the next 5 years, you're going to see more of these human interaction businesses explode. And he's talking about like having a business where you just go walk with somebody and have a conversation, because we're going to be so used to artificial intelligence and scrolling and this, that, and another that we're not having the human to human connection anymore. Yeah. And so because of that, in the next 5 years or so, we're going to be thriving to have that connection. And so anybody who is in that field connecting is going to thrive. So public speaking, thriving. That doesn't get old. Artificial intelligence can't replace human to human conversation and connection and dialogue. And so that's why I'm so thankful now, transitioning from the businesses that I've had. This doesn't get old. My voice doesn't get old. I could speak when I'm 80. People who play football, they can't do that when they're 50 years old. I don't care who you are. You could be the best person in the league. You can't play when you're 50. Look at Michael Jordan. He retired. The best to ever play it. But at a certain point, you get to an age where you can't play that good anymore. And so that's why I'm glad that I have this gift and that I'm able to give it to the world, because this doesn't get old. I can ride this until I die. Everything else eventually goes. The running, the marathons, the ultra marathons, the climbing the mountains, the being physically fit, this gets old. The body gets old. All of this eventually ends. And I try to tell people with that too. That's something that I've realized as I've gotten older as well, is just our mortality and the urgency that we should have with our lives. And a lot of people don't have it. We think we got all this time and we really don't. There's been moments where like I've come to this absolute realization, like I could die the next 30 seconds. I could walk out a door and not come back, and when you think about life like that, you start to live life differently. I don't want to live life wasting any time, any moments. And so for me, like, I don't want to go buy material possessions. I would much rather go travel the world or have experiences than material things. I've had it all.
Where was one of the first, like, out of the U.S. places that you traveled to?
Honestly, when we went and did the world record. So it was myself and 14 other runners. And I had a guy message me. This is when I first started saying like yes in my life. He messaged me. He's like, hey, I'm about to go do this epic trip. I'm going to take 14 people with me. We're going to go run every country of the United Kingdom, and we're going to do it in 24 hours. And I was like, all right, that sounds cool. And then
what type of shape were you in when he asked you, though?
So I literally just got into running. So like I wasn't 250 pounds anymore, but I also wasn't where I am right now. I was in the in between.
Okay.
This was in 2019, and so I was like, yeah, man, I'll go do it, and signed up for it. So next thing I know, I'm on a plane with 14 other people.
And did you know any of them?
I knew 2 of them. I knew none of the other people.
How'd you meet the 2 that you did know?
Through a running community. Okay. So like a Facebook running group.
Sweet.
And that's how I met this guy as well, the one that was putting on this world record run. So I was like, yeah, I'll go do it. And we flew out to London. And the first night, we spent just in London having dinner. And then the next night we drove to Scotland and we were sleeping on the border. Woke up at 3 a.m., started our run. So we did a 5K in each country, and a 5K is 3.1 miles.
Okay.
And so we ran 3 miles in Scotland, and then we drove to England, ran 3 miles there. And then from England, we drove to Wales, did the same thing, which was pretty cool. I got to run across the Irish Sea. And then from there, we jumped on a ferry, took that over to Ireland, and then we ran in Dublin, Ireland, and then finished in Belfast, North Ireland.
Wait, what time did you wake up that day?
Shit. When we started the world record,
yeah,
we woke up at 3 a.m., started running at 4, and then it was continuous for the next 16 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I mean, driving on boats, you got to go across the Irish Sea to go from Wales to Ireland, which is like a 4-hour boat ride. It's not like it's a 30-minute ride. So there was a lot of running and then stopping, and for the body and for the mind, when you have to stop and pause for a couple of hours or 3 or 4 hours and then go back to running, like it was exhausting, but at the same time, it was exciting, Yeah.
Did you know, was that the goal? Like, we're going to break a world record?
Yeah, that's the reason we even went on the trip was to set a world record. Yeah. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, I'm in. And from there, I've never looked back, dude. Like, I was just like, well, if I can achieve that thing, I can achieve this thing. I can achieve this thing. When you, again, write it down, have a blueprint, follow through, like literally anything that you want in life is possible.
Sell me on running. Sell me on running right now. I don't run.
I hate running. And in fact, I was on TikTok Live today and I was talking about it. Like, it's not, okay, I guess let me clarify. I don't hate running, but it's not that I love it. I love the results that I get from it.
Okay.
And the same is true with, business.
It's probably me with speaking on stage.
Yeah, 100%. It's not, I don't like doing it. In fact, I'm terrified when I go on a stage. I'm nervous that I'm going to mess up or I'm going to stand up and my mind sits down. Like, I don't want that, But the end result, what am I getting from it? The value that is being brought to me. That's why I run. I don't run because I like it. I run because of the results that I get from it.
What are some of the benefits?
Well, for me, a big thing is, and I get with you too, as business owners, our minds are all over the place a lot. Okay. And so I get a lot of clarity on my runs. I got time to think for myself. I'm not always on my phone. Today, I was trying to go on TikTok Live to see how that would perform because I'm not someone that does that a lot. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out the algorithm. But a lot of times on my run, it's just me, myself, and I. And
no music?
No music.
Okay, because would music fuck up the clarity part?
100%.
It's like distracting you the whole time? Oh,
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I have decided, and I made that decision, 3 or 4 years ago. When I'm on my runs, it's my time with myself and God. Again, not trying to tell people to be religious. But we're so distracted all the time that we really don't have time to self-reflect. And for me, that's the time to self-reflect or to ask questions on how I can move forward, just some clarity in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So point number 1, you've sold me. I'm hoping, so my wife is producing this episode and I'm hoping that you can sell both of us and we're going to go for a run together tomorrow. So selling point number 1, you hear that?
I'm literally looking up.
Are you? Bro, I want to do a 5K run so bad. I think there's one closer to like Silver Bells or
Silver Bells is having one and I'm signed up for it. I'll run it with you guys if you do it.
You signed up?
Yeah.
So
I'm signed up for Silver Bells.
So Silver Bells 5K run.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
I'm signed up. Let's go.
While we're at it, what's another benefit? I love the clarity part because yes, my mind is
The health benefits. Number one, the Bible says treat the body like a temple, and most people don't. The kingdom is within. We always look for outside sources to find solutions to our problems, and they're
like
always
supplements.
inside. Yeah, they're always inside. Dr. Wayne Dyer taught me this. There's people who lose their keys and they go looking outside of the house for the keys when they lost them inside. Everything's here. And so when you can circle back, we always get distracted. But when you can circle back and listen to what's going on in here, that's when you can start to get control of what's going on out here. And again, I know that sounds crazy, but it's 100% true. And again, my life is a reflection of that, because if you looked at me 10 years ago, there's no way you could have said that this is who this person would be now.
Yeah. So do you run in the morning then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll run any time, but typically I like to get up really early. Well, I mean, I'm a very early morning person. I'll get up at 3 a.m. And the reason that I do that is because, again, I've got kids, I've got priorities, I've got meetings, I've got all of these things that want to distract me throughout the day. And so from 3 to 6, I got time for me. Nobody's awake. I go exercise. After I'm done exercising, I come home, I read. After I'm done reading, I go through my list for the day. I send emails to clients. I have 3 hours of uninterrupted activity. And because of that, I'm more productive. So for me, that's the big key component. Yeah, I get up very early to run. Yeah. And running is the first thing I do. I exercise. Getting your body into a peak physiological state will help you be more creative. You think better, you have more clarity. And so first thing I do, go exercise. After that, I come home, I read. Once I'm in that state, I execute. And that's an everyday thing.
Fasted?
I fast, yes. So I'm I will fast 14 hours most days. I don't eat food before 1 p.m. And if I do eat food, it's fruit. Before 1 p.m. Not what I used to do with my body, but again, science and books and this, that, and another have put me in a different direction in my life. We're not supposed to eat 3 times a day at all. You look at the human being, this is a new concept within the last couple hundred years to eat 3 times a day. But as far as human existence is concerned, most would eat 1 time a day and fast, because back then they didn't have modern grocery stores and this, that, and other. They had to hunt and gather for food. And so we've created a system where the body is eating all of this stuff and consuming it, but it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And because of that, it distorts a lot of your own physiology. You don't think it's the same when you eat pizza and tacos and this, that, and another versus when you're eating fruits and vegetables and things that actually still have good nutrition in them. So I do run fasted. I do run very early in the morning. And because of that, they have been significant factors in helping me move forward in business, emotional intelligence, life in general, relationships with people. All of that ties into getting up early and working out.
Yeah. Now, do you run every day or what? Because my background's in the bro bodybuilding splits on push day, pull day, leg day, whatever. So there's a rotation of don't hit your chest for 2 to 3 days so it can recover, then you do it again. But with running, what would you recommend
Again, I don't recommend what I do to anybody, because I'm like a David. I don't want to say I'm like a David Goggins, but I'm like a David Goggins. I push myself beyond what most people would consider normal limits, but I do it intentionally because in the discomfort is where I have the most growth. So I run every day, without fail, whether that's 1 mile or it's 15. I make sure that I'm executing on what I said I was going to do, because that's the biggest thing is discipline. Doing what you said you were going to do, regardless of how you feel about doing it. Biggest thing, for sure. That's where all of the growth happens.
Okay.
I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Can we pause for a second?
Let's leave it, because it'll be easy for editing. And then I'll have it jump back in.
I didn't mean to stop you in the middle of that question.
Yeah.
All right. I drink a lot of coffee.
Isn't it crazy that I predicted that when you were like, oh, I'm drinking coffee. I'm like, oh, you're going to have to piss. Real quick, if you guys like the way that this podcast looks, this is actually a service that we offer here at Crack House Studios. If you didn't know, location we're filming in is Crack House Studios. It's in Lansing, Michigan. And that's what this podcast is powered by. So powered by Crack House Studios. If you guys are interested in any of the services we offer here, go to crackhousestudios.com. Back to the episode. Okay. So health benefits, the clarity. Oh, I had questions on, so you said you run every day regardless if it's a mile or more. What about like with weightlifting and stuff too? Because you're muscular. Do you lift weights?
I used to. I don't anymore. Primarily, everything that I do as far as exercise is concerned is I'll run very early in the morning. I do push-ups and pull-ups, and then I go out west and climb mountains. That's really what I do. I don't do any crazy lifting. I used to when I was younger. Got injured at some point, and it put me out for like 3 or 4 months. And it was lifting. I was lifting improperly, popped a rib out of place, pinched a nerve. Most uncomfortable I've been in my life. And I just didn't want to risk that anymore. Like, I don't need to be bigger. I just need to maintain. Yeah. And so for me, it's not trying to go lift heavy weights. It's just being consistent with what I'm already doing. So as far as lifting is concerned, no, I do push-ups, pull-ups, and I run. That's it.
What about mobility? I'm getting older now too, and I'm getting stiff and sore.
Stretching is a huge component, bro. So like I'll stretch before my runs, and then I stretch afterwards. And I mean like stretch. Put your fingers to your toes, knees straight. Like, because again, as we get older, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I understand that this doesn't last forever, and that's the reason that I'm going as hard as I am right now, so that I can have the next 20 years of longevity where, if I didn't execute and do these things, because I see a lot of people my age who don't do this, who are in horrible shape, who couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs without having to stop and take a breath, and I understand, again, time is our biggest enemy. And I just want to make sure that I am utilizing this as best as I can to get as much of that time as possible.
Do any of your boys run?
So my middle child, his name's Uriah, he does run track.
Sweet.
My oldest, he tried to run with us once or twice, but just not his thing. But my middle son runs track in high school right now. Yeah,
that's cool, man. I was telling my daughter yesterday on the way home from school. I was telling her that, because again, I've been doing a lot of work intentionally with paying attention to what I say, because like when the money does start getting low at the studio and we're getting close to like the beginning of the month and stuff, I tend to spiral and I start saying a lot of the negative, like, man, we got to figure it out because this and this. And I'm saying a lot of negative things. But like you said, my subconscious is listening like loud and clear. Yeah. I hear you. Yep. You're a failure. You're a loser. You're this. You're this. So yeah, I'm giving myself more grace. And I went to E.T.'s church out by like the Meyer and like Grand Ledge area. Yeah. And he had a different speaker, TJ. TJ was there that day. Okay. Filling for him. But what did he say? He was talking about like, do any of y'all in here have kids? And I'm like, my daughter's here right now. And he said, imagine the inner you that you're talking to is your kid. Do you talk the same to your kid as you do yourself? I'm like, I would never in my life talk to my little girl like that.
That's
and I'm thinking like,
damn,
okay.
Yeah.
So now I am giving myself more grace with like, because it is the little Nick inside. And I'm like, dude, bro, you're doing a good job, man.
Yeah.
So with that, I've been giving myself more grace, like, good job. You're doing good. And then also with like, this is my dream. And I haven't really said it, because when people do like today, you came in here, you're like, yo, this is cool. And I don't know if you even caught it. When I'm showing you the A-room, I'm like, this place was a piece of shit. I mean, it's still a work in progress. We still got to do this.
Yeah, I heard you.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm getting better, but this is my dream and I am living my dream. And then another thing that how you're talking about running with your son, I've always been into lifting weights. And I remember being at the gym when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, before I had my daughter, and I would see like dads in there working out with their daughters, and maybe the dads are in like their 40s and the daughter's in like 15, 20-ish or something. I was like, that's so cool. Like one day my dream is to like, have a kid and then like work out with them. And if I have a daughter, I want to work out with my daughter. And it's like, that's what I do now. Yeah. She's into the gym and working out and shit like that.
I love it, dude. I love it. I want to ask you, now this is something that I've wrote in my new book. This is chapter 5, but it's about the fear of success, because I know for myself, I I've achieved a lot. And because of that, I've also been extremely self-deprecating. What if I'm not ready for the success? What if it's too overwhelming? What if I let people down? So I want to ask you, as far as achievement is concerned, what are things that keep you a ceiling, so to speak? The self-deprecating talk. And why do those things pop up in your moments when you're getting ready to step to the next level?
I think that's the enemy. I think what's crazy, so he was preaching, the guy, because that same day where he's talking about your inner voice, he was like, the enemy is the inner me. And I was like, oh shit, he's preaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was just talking about, it's that voice, you know? And then, man, I seen another video this morning. Shout out to Charlie Rocket, or I don't know what he goes by now, just Charlie. He was saying someone in his life taught him that Santa Claus delivers presents in the dark. And so the dark being when you're about to level up and things get dark and there's this storm and then all of a sudden there's this rainbow and, you know, things work out. So the thing that's helped me the most is like recognizing the patterns, because now it's like I'm looking back and I remember, I mean, shit, my whole life has been that. When I had a CD business, the first machine I ever bought was like around $3,500. And I saved up exactly like $3,500. And I didn't have a car. And I'm like, yo, I could either buy a used car or a CD machine. And then I told my friend, I may need some more rides from you because I'm getting the CD machine, bro. And I remember I bought the CD machine and it like catapulted me. But again, I went back and forth and I'm like, I don't know, this is a risk. It's so scary. And it was a hard time. And then boom, I made the jump, leveled up. And then at the old studio, like I've been here for two years and maybe 3 months or so, 2 years, 3 months, 4 months, something like that. The old studio I was at for 11 years. Yeah. And when they reached out, basically Lacaz, RIP.
Yes.
His godfather, Jesse Jones, which I think he passed away too, so RIP Jesse Jones, but he wanted to build like this dream studio and get all the best engineers from all sides of town into one studio, one name, so that way if there was ever like a celebrity coming to town, it's like this is the place. Yeah. You know, if it was a barbershop, get the best barber from the west side, east side, south side, north side, put them all in one shop.
Dude, I remember when Lacaz and Eclipse were doing their thing, man. Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
But when they reached out, I had a home studio, and I remember they sent, shout out to Zach Tuck, to come like recruit me or, you know, check me out or like go out at Cracker, like see if he wants to come here, see what he's up to. And so me and Zach, we collabed on some beats at my home studio, and he kept telling me like, you should come check out the studio, man. Lacaz is there, Eclipse is there. Like you could be there too. We could all be working on beats. We're all in the same environment. And I was just saying, like, for me, it was getting over that limiting belief of, but I have a free studio. Why would I ever pay for a studio? Which is crazy because once I made the jump, I said never in my life would I ever have a home studio again.
Yeah.
So, but it took me getting to this low point because I had a home studio. And then at the time it was like my daughter's mom's parents' house and I wasn't together with her. And there's like her dad was there, but I'm bringing in rappers to their house.
Yeah.
Go down in the basement to this home studio. And then, you know, like people smell like weed and like loud ass music and shit. And he'd be like, no problem. But I just knew. And it got to where I was just enough of uncomfortable to be like, fuck it. Yeah, let me go check out the studio. So then I did it and then like never looked back. But again, that was a low point. I'm questioning the studio thing. Well, man, they want hundreds, and this is hundreds of dollars. I was like, they want hundreds of dollars a month for me to have a studio there. My studio here is free. That's like, I'm gonna have the same clientele, but less, you know, I'm losing hundreds of dollars. Yep. This is stupid. Did it. Then fast forward to having to pay for utilities and all that shit, then that was hundreds of dollars. And then fast forward to coming to here, this is thousands of dollars. And I remembered like it was always a learning curve, but the best thing about it was it leveled me up.
Facts.
And how you're talking about earlier is like setting your new baseline and not going back anymore. So the thing that excites me or, you know, wires me the most about it is, I guess just this journey of self-improvement with myself that like is a side effect of the entrepreneurship. So from me signing up for this, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to come up with, for me to afford thousands of dollars a month in overhead, I have to do tens of thousands of dollars, like every single, not just some months, like every single month. And I'm like, oh shit. And so, yeah, there was some months slower. I had to borrow money from friends to be able to, boom, a few weeks later, pay them back and I'm back in business. But then it was like, because for here, the first 12 months was something. And then it went up. And I remember my first few months here was hard. And then I got used to it. And so like I raised my baseline. I was like, all right, you know, every month we're hitting it. Then it was like, okay, year 2, it goes up again. And right when that first month struggled, was late on rent, et cetera. First maybe few months. Then it was like I raised my baseline and then now hitting it. And then 2-3 months ago when I had posted that like the studio was going to close down, it was my first month of paying for 2 spaces.
Right.
And it was, but I remember when they said it opened up and we talked about this, where I said I wasn't ready and you said, you're never ready. Like there is no perfect time. And I knew that. I know like, okay, there's no such thing as the perfect time, but right now is not the perfect time. But yeah, there is no such thing as the perfect time. It's open. Fuck, man, I wasn't ready for this. And I leveled up and I figured it out some way, somehow. Like, damn, I'm going to be a bad motherfucker if I can figure out how to do both of these, but I will figure out how to do both of these. Yeah, let's go sign it. And I want to do 5 years. Like, let's extend it.
And I love that you did it when you weren't ready.
Yeah.
That's a key component. Most people stop before they're ready, and that's why they never start. And if you could just, again, like you did, I'm going to make the decision to do this, and whatever happens, happens. But you made a choice, and most people don't. And the fact that you didn't sit on the sidelines is why you have what you have. You know, just like I know you've heard the same thing, and I talked about it today, but Ed talked about it specifically, is the piñata of life. A lot of people, the compounding effects, you know. Yeah. You got these kids that'll come hit a piñata, and you got one that comes and hits, it doesn't break it. Another one comes and hits, it doesn't break it. And, you know, this happens for 10 or 15 minutes, and then finally one kid comes up and cracks the thing open, and candy goes everywhere. And, you know, it wasn't that one hit. We all think it's the one hit, but it's the compounding effect of every sacrifice that you've had to make, every failure that you've had, all of the setbacks, adversities, and all of these things have compounded so that when you do take that swing, which you have, now the candy of life is opening up. Yeah. But most people are so terrified to do that in the fear that it won't work out that they never do it. And I was in that place for a long time. Again, the clothing company, I was stagnant. It was average. I was doing 6 figures, but it wasn't moving up. And it wasn't moving down because I wasn't doing anything different. I was just consistent in how it was. And until we make that decision to level up, which is uncomfortable, we'll stay the same. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always have what you've always had, period.
Mm-hmm. How, like, in your mind, when you knew I'm not passionate about doing the clothing stuff anymore, what is the next thing? Well, I really want to motivate people. I like making an impact on people, but I still have to make a living. Like, did you save up a certain amount of money and then you're like, okay, now I have this much time until this runs out and then I got to figure it out? Or was it
So like I've been investing since I was 17 years old. Well, 18 almost. So like I've been in the stock market and ETFs and mutual funds and things like that. So I have outside investments that I had put into at a young age, and I'm thankful that I did. However, with the clothing company, yes, I did have funds that I had put aside. And with that, like I had been speaking prior to the clothing company. The only reason I started the clothing company was so that I could put motivational messages on t-shirts. That's the only reason this thing even transpired. That's what Chase Something was all about, is that we all have these gifts and talents, and they're all unique to ourselves and they're all different, but we all have something that we are chasing in life. Yeah. And so that was my mission, was to create this message and put it on t-shirts and start selling it. And I did, you know, I was selling one t-shirt here for $25, one here for $25. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And then, you know, the first year, like I barely broke even, bro. I put, I don't know, $25,000 in equipment and made like 26 first year. Yeah. I was like, this is stupid. But I didn't give up on it. I continued to do it. And, you know, 5 years later, well, it wasn't even 5 years. It was the second year we went from $26,000 to 88. Like, I mean, it was big, crazy. Yeah. And it was simply because one school had reached out to me and asked for like 400 t-shirts. And at the time that was like $8,000 order, biggest order I had ever done.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, sweet. And then from there, the business it shifted completely. And so it was no longer my personal brand, the motivational messages. It was me servicing restaurants and schools and dance studios, which again, cool. It wasn't where I was trying to get that business to go, but that's the direction that it went. And it just happened like that. And the same thing is happening with this. Once I actually executed, deployed, and decided what I wanted to do with my consulting firm. So again, we have programs, the one-on-one coaching calls. We've got professional development. We've got leadership development. And then I also do speaking engagements. And all of those have their own packages and prices and this, that, and another.
See, that's awesome. You have an ecosystem of products around you, the personal brand.
Yeah.
That's the direction I'm going now.
And I didn't have that. And the same thing with you. Like, it takes a lot of experience for us to start building these things out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with pricing for me. That's been a struggle for like the last year especially with the studio, with all these new services. Like, oh, you have a photography studio. What are your photography packages? I don't fucking have any. Let me research and become a photography package expert in like a few days or something. So I'm scrambling doing that. Like, I remember I sent you a voice message sometime in the last few weeks where you asked about a friend that was doing social media content.
Yep.
And again, those packages that I told you then was me doing research and different stuff like that. But then I think I told you, I found that a lot of businesses needed smaller ones.
Yeah.
And so now, as of 2 days ago, I talked to another friend that has been doing this for like 5 to 10 years, asked him what his packages were and what they entailed. And then I had my one, and then I used my theory, and then I combined everything with ChatGPT, watched a few YouTube videos, and then I came out with my new shit that I'm pretty confident in.
Yeah.
And so now I have like business content packages.
And I love that you're asking people who already have knowledge in the field. So many people are scared to do that. And if they would just ask somebody who's already successful in the area that they want to be successful in, most people would be willing to give you that information.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody who is successful who wouldn't want to tell somebody else how they did it. You know, like, there are literally thousands of books that have been written on how to make money, how to be successful, how to be wealthy, how to grow a business, and people don't read them. The average American reads less than one book a year. And now they're fighting for the attention span of goldfish. 5 seconds is the attention span of a human being. So if you can't get them in the first couple of seconds on that content, they're scrolling to the next. And so with that and understanding, again, human behavior, psychology, and all of this other shit that encapsulates business, you really start to understand, as you've done this for a long time, once you hone in on the thing that you want to do, how to make it the thing.
Yeah.
And granted, not going to be easy. It's never easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, people don't see the sacrifice that you have to make behind the scenes. They don't see the time. They don't see the times when you doubt yourself. Yeah. When there are disputes against spouses, no offense, because, you know, I've got it too. It's just life. We're human beings, and people don't see that. Just like, oh my God, you're so successful, this, that, another. They don't see the times when you're down in the dumps, when you're questioning if what you're doing matters or why you're doing it. Oh my God, I spent so much money on this. This is pointless. You know, like, nobody sees that. They just see the end result. And humanizing that. And that's why I love being vulnerable with people and letting them know some of the parts of my life that most people don't allow people to know, because it allows me to connect with people in a way that you couldn't. Yeah. Because now you put me on this pedestal for whatever reason it is. You're a speaker, you're an author, this, that, and another, but I'm a human being just like you. And then now that I can be vulnerable with you and connect with you on your level, now I'm not way up here. I'm here with you. And that matters more than anything. Human connection and conversation and networking matters more than business or anything else in this world, because your connections with people are going to be the ones that open doors of opportunity. Yeah.
When you're saying, I was thinking of a specific situation that happened. This is maybe like a year plus ago. And so shout out to Malik. He's one of the team members here. He understands like human psychology, influence, and all that stuff. So he loves like the branding side of things and perception. And, you know, he'll tell me I have a strong brand. And sometimes when I talk about like vulnerable shit, in the past, he'd be like, I don't think you should put that out there, like I think that might hurt your brand and stuff. But there was a specific time where maybe it was within the first 6 months or something of the studio opening, and it was slow. And I'm like, oh shit, like we've got to do something. And I remember I posted a Facebook status and I said, I'm just being transparent. The studio is really slow. Like, what are things that you would love to see the studio have that we don't have, or offer that we don't offer? Like, what is missing? Like, talk to me. And then, I was saying, a lot of people, they'll think that I'm already this multi-millionaire guy. And I'm like, dog, I'm in the trenches and I'm building.
Yes, dude.
And when you see this positive shit, it's because I'm talking to me.
Yes.
Like, keep going. Don't give up. Stay motivated. Stay positive. You got this. I'm talking to me. I need to hear that shit.
Yeah, 100%. I was saying that on my live on TikTok today because like I'm calling out people, but when I'm calling them out, I'm literally putting the mirror back on myself and saying, hey, by the way, like even though I'm saying this, I mean it to myself as well.
Yeah.
I am a human being. I have to hold me accountable too. I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not making the decisions I'm supposed to be making. You guys see this polished version of me because that's what I'm producing to the world. But you don't see me when I'm in the trenches or when I'm in the suck. You just see the success. And so I get that 100%. And because of that, there's this complex that I build in myself that I'm not enough, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not giving the world enough. They expect all of this from me and I'm not producing it. And so I shrink myself. And when I shrink myself, I'm not as good in business. I'm not as productive in my personal life, in my fitness. That all transcends into every aspect of my life. And so I think it's very important for us. And one of the main reasons why I go run as much as I do is because I get that clarity. The clarity to find me, not anything else.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so far away from it that if I could give anybody any type of advice in this world, it would be spending 1 hour with yourself a day where you don't have distractions, no cell phone, no nothing. Go sit in nature if you need to, or on your back porch or whatever it is, and just be with yourself, be with your thoughts, and let those guide you. And they may go in crazy places, but let them come and go. And a lot of people want to hold on to thoughts. And if you just let that thought come in and realize it's just a thought and let it pass, then you disconnect from this, constant need of approval in the world. And now that we live in this day and age, that's all everybody wants, is this constant need of approval. And I've gotten away from that. I had it for a long time. I needed to be that guy that everybody saw. Now I just need to be the guy that everybody needs. I want to impact you. I don't want you to see me. I want you to feel me, and then go deploy whatever I say to you in your life and watch how it changes.
Yeah. I want to talk about books. Will you hand me your book? I want to hold this bad boy up.
Sorry,
so
that was a little beat up, but
all good. 35 Principles for Lasting Life Change. The guide of practical solutions to everyday problems. What inspired writing this book?
Every other book that I have read. I appreciate
sweet.
that. And I mean that genuinely. All of my mentors, nothing that I say, nothing that you say are really derived from ourselves. These are all thoughts and experiences that we have gathered over many years in our lives. And so writing that book, initially what we were doing was trying to help the school system. Schools are in session about 35 weeks out of the year. And so the goal is every week you would learn a new principle. We made it super easy, simple. It's 2 pages. So you learn a principle. You don't have to read a whole chapter. It's 2 pages. And you read those 2 pages for a week. I would much rather you read something for 7 days than read it once, because you're going to retain the information better. So that's why we designed that book the way that we did. Now, however, it was the first book I had ever written. So learning process. I didn't know how to publish. I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how to do any of that.
But you did.
But I did. And because of that, I learned how to do it better.
Okay.
And so this new one that I have coming out, it doesn't release until April 6th, but it's phenomenal because I learned how to be a better writer. I learned how to think better. I learned how to have better dialogue with individuals like I'm having with you. And in doing this, we literally create a better environment for ourselves to have. When you have a vocabulary that is larger, you don't live an impoverished life. Tony Robbins said, an impoverished vocabulary is an impoverished life. If I can't connect with every individual because I can't communicate with you properly, then I can't reach the amount of people that I should have. And I mean that in the sense that I can sit down and have this dialogue with you in an intellectual setting and have you understand it, versus one of my friends who's from the hood's not going to, no disrespect, understand it in the way that I'm speaking to you. I have to talk differently. And so understanding that, I can communicate with people on a larger scale because I'm not one-sided. I can sit down, understand who you are as an individual, and then connect with you in the way that you connect, not how I want to connect.
I'm thinking for a second. So I was just telling my wife, it sounds weird to say, but like I was telling her, one thing I love about me, it sounds weird, right? One thing I love about me, let me tell you one thing I love about me. But I was just saying that I'm always myself, no matter who it is. So like there's a multi-millionaire serial entrepreneur guy that just inquired about doing some content stuff. My first text to him was, "What's up, dog?" Right? We work with this auto repair shop, and shout out to Chris. Hey, how's it going,
Jerry's?
buddy? Yeah. I said, "What's up, big dog?"
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. And because I was trying to think, like, do I change much? But one thing that's cool too, because this stood out. I think we might have talked about it today. That's why it's fresh in my mind. But like yesterday, somebody called like the studio phone number, and then MY, one of the team members here, he had it on speaker, but they were inquiring about getting like coaching with me. And the beautiful thing about content and like being authentic, this guy knows me, but I've never spent a minute with him, but he spent hours with me. And he was talking about how he said, honestly, I've learned so much from him, from his free content. I feel like I owe him money. So that was cool for him to have said. And then also what I love is when I meet people, like this is our first time in many, many years, like actually sitting down and talking. But I hope that from the stories you see me or reels or whatever, that it's the same guy that you see.
For sure, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at earlier is you can't stand out if you always fit in. To be your authentic self and not have to change around certain people. And I guess let me clarify when I'm saying changing my dialogue, not changing who I am, but changing how I conversate with people so that I can connect with them on their level. But I absolutely agree with you on that. And I was having that conversation earlier, and it's funny, you were talking about someone that you had never met before. I was at Dollar General on Mount Hope earlier, and as I'm pulling in, there's a guy getting out of his car. I've never met this guy in my life. Don't know who he is. But he's like, "Sup, man?" And I'm like assuming that he knows me. And I'm like, "Hi." And I go to open the door for him. And he says, "When's your next speaking engagement?" And I was like, "Oh, well, South Carolina, 2 months." But I didn't know who this guy was. And much as the same as you is your content. There's someone out here that's watching you that you don't know about at all. And I don't know this guy. I don't know his name. Never met him in my life. But here I am going into Dollar General. And because I'm posting content, this person saw me. And so now I'm impacting their life, their world in a different way. Yeah. And so we, as creators, have to realize that while we post a video, we don't know who it's going to reach. And at any point in time, you've had some that have gone viral. I've had some that have gone viral, 1 million views, whatever. But we don't know who those people are on the other end of that are watching it, number one. And number two, if it's going to impact them in a positive way or a negative one. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I also think about a lot when I create content. And not to say that it shrivels me up and not being my authentic self. And in fact, it encourages me to be my authentic self, because then I'm pulling the audience that I want into me and repelling the ones that I don't.
Yeah. I was having somewhat of an identity crisis when certain business, like, again, 20 plus years in the music industry for me, and then moving into like businesses, commercial, like commercial real estate companies and stuff, and talking to them. And I felt I still talked like this, but maybe a little bit cleaner. As
100%.
in, there wasn't as many shits or fucks on the first meetings, It was just like, "Hey, how's it going?" and blah, blah, blah. And but then when I was questioning a lot of different things, I realized, like, wait, it's there's only a conflict because my identity, like I'm trying to cater to that. And I'm like, no, I say shit, fuck this, the crack house, people smoke weed here. I got to get back to that. Like,
and honestly, again, like you said, absolutely get back to who you are and you'll attract the people that you're supposed to. 100%, dude. I've had that issue so many times in my life where like I would adjust myself to, again, try to match an environment or to get people into my environment that I wanted, and then find out that it wasn't what I wanted. And again, when you do that, you the only thing that happens is you're in conflict with yourself because you're not being your authentic self. And you know it. You know when you got a mask on. I know when I got a mask on. And when we do those things, we're not connecting with people, businesses, or organizations authentically.
Yeah.
And when you do let that mask go, regardless of what someone thinks about you, regardless of the content you post, you allow the people who genuinely need you into your life. Because a lot of times we allow a lot of people into our lives that are just trying to suck up our time, our energy, or our resources. Oh, well, you're doing this. Can you give me this? Can you give me this time? Can you take me here? You know, I've had so many people, and don't get me wrong, it's not about money for me. I love taking people on trips, and I'll pay for it. I want you to come to the mountains with me. Let's go climb a 14,000-foot mountain. Everything, expenses paid. Just come have the experience. Because I understand at the end of the day, I am a privileged individual. And if I can give someone else that privilege of having those experiences, those moments, those memories, then I'm doing God's work. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to be purposeful and to help other people thrive as well.
What about South Carolina do you love?
I mean, Myrtle Beach. I go out there.
We haven't been there, but that's a place that we've been talking about going.
I go to Myrtle Beach probably 3 or 4 times a year. Now, I go out there primarily for me to write when I'm writing books.
Awesome.
I'll go by myself. I'll go get an oceanfront condo, and I'll sit there for a week by myself, have the sliding glass door open. I mean, I'm right on the beach, so I can hear the ocean waves. It is something that gives me a relaxation and a clarity that I cannot find in other environments. So I love South Carolina for that.
Do you stay at the same place every time?
No, I'll go to different condos.
Okay.
Yeah. I always love trying different places, different foods, different experiences. While it is, in the same general area, I will try to go to different places. Yeah.
So one of the things that I said I was going to do, I think on my 30th birthday, I said before 40, I wanted to write a book. And it also aligns with everything that I have going on and sharing. And, I want to teach lessons and whatnot. So from your first book to your second book, you said, the second one, I've learned so much more. It's going to be so much better. So let me extract that from your brain.
It's just night and day difference. And I think there's a few key components there. Number one is just time. So I wrote that in 2019. 2020, we're at 2025 now. You're talking 5-year difference. So I've learned a significant amount of more in that 5-year time than I had probably in 10 years.
Yeah.
But also with that, another thing that has made it better again is just doing the first one and having some feedback from people. And, we proofread this book 7, 8, 9 times before we published.
Damn.
Published it. And guess what? Still had an error after publishment. I get a friend that calls me up and was like, hey, by the way, in this chapter in this book, and you might have a copy that had the mess up. I don't know. I got a lot of them. But there was just one particular part in the book where we said asses instead of assess. And we missed it. We read it time and time again, but still deployed it in the marketplace. It didn't allow that mistake or that error to sway us from thinking that it was a good book. I reread it now and I'm like, man, again, it's from everybody from the dawn of time who has been successful. There's a principle in that book from them. So it's not me. It's just information that I've learned and regurgitated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fire. It's horribly written because I didn't know how to write a book, but it's fire. And so moving into the second one, I knew how to write. I knew how to publish. I knew where to deploy. And the second one isn't just principles. It's a part of my life. It's stories of other people, famous people you might know, who coincide with the scientific evidence that I'm trying to tell people. So when we self-sabotage, there are really 6 major things that we self-sabotage on, which I talk about in the book. In those 6 things, I go in depth. I give personal experience on how I did that because I've done it with all 6 of them. We all have. how I continue to do that, but then how I hold the mirror up to myself and then have the evidence scientifically to show how we can rewire our brains to get out of self-sabotage and get ourselves into a place of improvement. So as far as from that book to this one, I mean, again, night and day difference. You're talking the sun and the moon. I've learned a lot. I understand a lot more. I have more intellect. I have a better vocabulary. I write better. And it's just progress. And I think that with life in general, over time, experiences build principles and standards in life for individuals. You know, if I've my whole life had these things happen to me, well, now I have a standard of avoiding whatever that is.
Yeah.
And if you can get in a place where you can break those barriers, which I did through wisdom and experience, it has allowed me to open my mind in ways that most people don't think. And it's so, again, hard to have dialogue. Thankfully, I'm having a conversation with somebody that understands some of that stuff, but most people don't. And it's very, very hard to have conversations with people about that stuff.
What about some of the like practical, the process of making the book? Because so for me, the first course I made took me 14 months because I had to learn how to make a course, where to host a course, choosing between the different options. Do you make an encyclopedia course where it's so overwhelming? The pros are it includes everything you'll ever need to know about a music video, but the cons are no one will ever make it out alive because it'll take them 13 hours. And then it's like, or do you have it's so simple that then people have questions that aren't answered because it was too simple. And so it took me 14 months to make my first course. It took me 2 months to make my second course. And it took me 3 days to make my third course. So I could teach the lessons of that. But I'm curious with the book though, what would your process be for like your third book after what you've learned from your first one, your second one? All right, I'm about to write my first book. Let's say, what advice would you give me as far as, you know, maybe go somewhere private? What you've always done is
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, well, you got to have a creative space, number one. Writer's block is a real thing. You can be in an environment where you want to create and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
So definitely getting in a space where you can have, environment is everything. I say this a lot. I say it in my speeches, and I oftentimes carry an acorn with me. And the reason that I do it, and I'm going to give this analogy real quick and then get back to that. So if you look at an acorn, that obviously turns into an oak tree, right? But all of the ingredients for that acorn to turn into that oak tree are already inside of the acorn. And the same are true with you and myself. So all of the ingredients for you to be the best version of yourself, to accomplish all your goals and dreams, to achieve all of this stuff, all of those ingredients to be that individual are already inside of us. And it's our environments that help us either grow or not. If I were to take that acorn and lay it on a table and leave it there for 50 years, nothing's going to happen.
Okay.
But the moment that I put that acorn in the ground, which is conducive for growth, an environment conducive for growth, what happens? The acorn's roots start to sprout and the branches start to go up. And same is true for us. So our environments are everything. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. And so I stopped surrounding myself. When I was writing that book, I had just started to really get into the circle of individuals who were leveling my life up.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you know, I'm just starting to pick up the nuggets. Whereas the second one, it's been 5 years. I've read hundreds of books, thousands of hours. I am most certainly a leader in self-development. And I'm not saying that is an ego thing. It's just I've put the time in, much like you are a leader in your area, the music industry, filming, producing, this, you know, because you put the time in. And so with the second book, you know, that time frame, like it was super simple. Like you're saying, you know, the first one took me, I mean, we probably spent 9 or 10 months writing this.
Really?
And we'd be up from, you know, 3 a.m. until 2 a.m. sitting, reading books from every leader that we could think of. John Maxwell, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. I mean, you name it, we read it and we devoured it and just did what we could do to try to build that out. Took a lot of time, a lot of errors, and it's still not a perfect book, but we did it. And then the second book, dude, when I really decided to write it, and ironically, I was writing a different book when this one came into play, and I was in a mid-run. This is like 3 months ago. And I just had this thought that came in and was like, hey, you need to write this book, and this is what it's going to be called. And so I stopped writing the other book that I was writing completely and went right into the one that I just finished. And it took me less than 3 weeks to write from start to finish.
Okay.
And it's deep. I mean, it's anybody who reads that book from the beginning page to when you close it, you're going to be a different individual. Not this one.
How thick compared to this is the next one?
It's going to be a reader for sure. I don't know exact pages yet because I haven't sent it off to the publisher. And so right now on Microsoft Word, their formatting is a little bit different. I'm probably looking at it being double the size of that.
Okay.
But again, it's practical, it's real, it's raw, and it's scientific. Everything that is in that book has data to back it up. And again, I didn't know when I wrote the first one that I should do something like that. But with the second one, I went through and I read the studies. So every time that I'm saying something about self-sabotage, I have the science to back it up. And I also have the story to be relatable with you.
Okay.
Which is what we want as writers. We want to catch people. So like the first chapter, not even the first chapter, the preface in my next book, I'm grabbing you emotionally, like physically grabbing you. That we've all experienced these points in life where we've had these highs and intentionally lowered ourselves, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now I've connected with you. You want to read the preface. Now you're on to the first chapter. Again, the first couple of lines in the first chapter, I am grabbing you emotionally because I want you, again, to understand that I am on your level as a human being. I'm just as vulnerable as you. And I have the same problems that you do, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in life, whether that's in disbelief in what I think I can achieve. We all have that across the plane, but it's a decision to either accept that thought or choose a new one. And a lot of people don't do that. They get programmed to having these self-deprecating thoughts. And so they live a life of repeating the same thoughts and same existence for 75 years and call it a life. And that's just not, I'm not comfortable with that. I can't be.
Right.
And especially after already hitting some type of level of achievement, you can never really shrink back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always, as an entrepreneur, I don't want to say that it's never enough. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just once we achieve something and we know we can achieve it, we want to see what's the next thing. And when we stop doing that is when we stop growing. Ed said it best, bro. I'm trying to, at the end of my life, I want to get there and meet the guy and achieved everything that I was supposed to in life. I don't want to get there and be a stranger with the person I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I want to have accomplished those things. I want to have the relationships. I want to have the memories, the experiences, and the impact. And I think that book encapsulates that. With the next book, I think take 3 days. I mean, the more that, again, if you got writer's block, I could see it taking longer. But the more that you understand how to write, the easier it gets, just like with any other experience, you know? So, yeah.
What would you say is the next step? Let's say right now I just finished, I hit period. And then obviously now I should like proofread it, have somebody else proofread it, you know, to do that type of stuff. And let's say we made the changes and it's like, yo, this is good. We have the documents. Like, what is the next step to actually like go from that shit written up to, you know, like the book?
So now there's so many options as far as like self-publishing. You can go on Amazon and do it. Now, the thing with Amazon.
Was this self-published or?
So this is actually, no, we published through Ingram Spark. Now, that is a company that distributes and publishes for you, and they deploy it through every marketplace. So if I just went through Amazon, it would only be available on Amazon or Kindle. Whereas going through Ingram Spark, this allows this to be sold worldwide through 47,000 retailers. And they do all of that. Now, you catch a couple dollars on the back end for every book that you sell.
Okay.
But it deploys globally rather than a specific niche environment. So that's the company that we ended up going through, and that's the one that I'm doing with the second book as well, is Ingram Spark. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what is that process like? Like, I don't know, you submit the book to Ingram.
Yep. They'll review it, make sure that there's, you know, obviously not any copyright infringement or anything like that. That takes a couple of days. Once that process is approved, you have to buy what they call an ISBN. So if you flip the book over, that's the barcode.
Gotcha.
That's the ISBN. That's the identification number for that book in any environment. So whether you go to Barnes & Noble or you go to Schuler's or you buy it on Amazon, that ISBN.
Got it.
So you'll have to purchase an ISBN. Once you do that, you'll upload your book to Ingram Spark, format it how you want. If you've already got a cover, you'll create the cover. And then from there, after the review process, once you're ready. So we had our book release party for this, which was, a ridiculous amount of money. We spent almost 10 grand on that. It was like $4,000 just to rent out the country club's ballroom plus the outside thing. Then I had 4 other speakers that came in, paid for the open bar. We had catered food for the event for everybody. So a lot of money going into it. But what I realized there was I didn't plan it very well. And again, I'm not a marketing guru. This is something that I'm still learning on social media in general.
Yeah.
Like I post a lot of content, but I don't do it targeted. And I know that's, again, me holding the mirror up to myself. If I want to grow my business, this is something that I need to learn and do. And so that's why I'm going live on TikTok more and trying to learn social better and marketing better. I am not a good marketer, but I have every business that I've owned, I've done on my own. And it's been very hard, like I was saying, to let go of the reins and give somebody else the power to control the business. Because when I've done that, especially with my clothing company, I let someone else do some t-shirts for me while I was out of town, and they messed the order up. And it was a big order, it was like an $8,000 order. And so when I get back home, I'm the one that has to solve that problem. They didn't have to solve it because they don't own the business. I do.
Yeah.
That's been a very big thing for me. And one of the reasons why, it's hard for me to let go. But at the end of the day, I got to that point where I realized, it's not up to me. I want to have this goal, this vision, this plan. But at the end of the day, there is a source outside of me that has this plan, whatever it is. And I'm trying to follow that now. And I, again, not trying to be religious. It's just as I've gotten older, I have a far larger understanding for what we are, and we are not human beings. Again, not trying to get on that level here, but you have a capacity inside you to achieve things that you can't even imagine. And most people will live their entire lives not knowing that.
When does the next book come out?
I'm the Problem, The Science Behind Why We Self-Sabotage comes out April 6th.
I love that title.
I do too. And
I'm
it took
a very
me a
honest
while
person. I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. And I don't just throw compliments out there. So my compliments are more like a sniper.
Yeah, no, I genuinely, yeah.
That's a great title.
I appreciate it. And I bounced around on the title for a while there. Initially, it was going to be, you're the problem, this, that, and another. And what I realized is when I'm doing that, I'm not really giving people the space to accept the fact that they're the problem.
Yeah. So
then actually saying I'm the problem immediately catches people's attention. So when I wrote the first couple of chapters of the book, I gave the manuscript out to, 7, 8 individuals. And they fucking loved it, which is good because for me, I'm like, is this good? Is it better than that? Again, self-deprecating. But it's been well received. And I really do genuinely think that when this book comes out, it's going to help a lot of people. And I'm doing this one differently because when we did that, there was no marketing. I let people know we're having a book release party, but every speaking engagement that I go to, it's like, hey, the new book's coming out April 6th, whatever it is, I'm deploying into your mind that this book is coming out.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I didn't do that. And again, learning process, didn't know what I didn't know.
How do you get physical copies?
Of the book?
Yeah.
Oh, you can just order them right off Ingram Spark. Yeah. So I order bulk orders. Typically, when I go to school districts, I give them discounted prices, but I'll order, 200, 300 books from them individually. And they only charge me $2.95, $3 a book. And, I turn around and sell it for $10, $11,
Okay.
I don't get all the profit from that. Obviously, Ingram Spark takes their cut. I make $4 a book, give or take.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they take care of all of it, man. Once it's published up there, now obviously you can still push it on your own social media.
Yeah.
But they'll deploy it. So if I go to Barnes and Noble or something like that, I don't have to worry about if the book's going to be there because your ISBN is now in their algorithm, in their network. And if they don't have it physically in the store, you could still go to order it and then they'll have it there for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of marketing ideas closer to the second book as well that we could talk about.
And I want to give you a copy. So when it's done, it's not done, but I definitely want to give you a copy. I do have a manuscript with me that's got the first chapter I'll give you before I leave. But when the book is done, I'll give you a copy for free. Again, it's just something that, number one, I know you're going to resonate with because even though you're in a different field than me, we are more alike than we are different. And because of that, I know that you're going to resonate with a lot of the information in that book, especially chapter 5, because the fear of success. That's something, I don't care who you are. We have to, once we achieve a certain level, feel like, or at least in my mind, we feel like we have to hold and or continue to obtain that, or everybody else is going to think less of us. And it's such a stupid thing, but it's just human nature. But in that indifference and then realizing it, again, it's easier to rewire in our brains and not be so self-deprecating. Like, we all get in our own ways. At the end of the day, that's really it. You know, we want to say it's somebody else, but it's ourselves.
No, it's always us.
It's always us.
Yeah.
Always has been, always will be.
Where can people find you online on social media?
So on TikTok, it's Chasing Jake. Instagram, Chasing Jake. Facebook, it's Jacob Akley. And then my website is jacobakleyinspires.com.
Oh, I love that too.
Yep.
That's a good one too.
So, yeah. And then from there, you know, if anybody wants to book anything, one-on-one coaching, speaking engagements, professional development, they can do that through the website or DM me directly. So.
Good job, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The website.
Dude, same with you, bro. Yeah. I'm really proud of the work that you've been doing. It's amazing and it's inspiring because not a lot of people do it. And so to see other individuals out here giving their all to be the best they can be is amazing. And keep doing it. You're a light in this world and it's dark right now. And a lot of people need that light. So keep shining. I mean that tremendously. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. On Spotify, do me a favor, give it a 5-star review. I'll see you guys next time. Jacob Akley. Peace out.
Thanks, bro.